so Julio is essentially the devil to little fairy creatures. I kind of now want to see him beat Cupid. I just wonder which one of those devils will win out in the end. With the success of their stall at the Sweets Festival, the Kirakira Precure saw a significant spike in its business. The Precure themselves also see a spike in their popularity, to the point Ichika actually considers blowing their secret identities. Come on, Ichika, you gotta wait until at least the big climax before you blow your cover. Didn't you learn anything from your contemporaries? Though right now, secret IDs might be pretty essential, with Julio becoming far more active starting from this episode. He enters Ichika's school as a mysterious transfer student, Ryo Kuroki. And with no Haruhi Suzumi in sight to whisk him away to her little brigade, it looks like he's going to be keeping a keen eye on supposedly the best baker in town. All the while, he's able to win over all of the girls and boys at the school. Then again, the background characters in this anime are easier to sway than a crowd of drunk football fans, so maybe it's not that much of an accomplishment to brag about. Also, is it just me, or does this girl look way too happy to see two boys getting along? After school, the Precure encountered the newly reformed thieves, who revealed how they ended up joining the dark side. As I hinted at the beginning of this review, it was with the classic Faustian method by promising them power, knowledge, beauty, and so forth. Because yeah, this guy looks really trustworthy. Then again, at least he didn't look like this. By the way, did you hear that FGO is coming to the States this summer? I'm really excited. Not so much to see this guy, but still. Anyway, this leads into a rather touching moment where the former thieves actually eat some sweets for once, instead of draining them of their essence, effectively bringing closure to their arcs in this anime. Again, they weren't great villains or anything, but at least they went out on a nice note. Back at school, Julio continues to be as subtle as the villain from Erased, and eventually is able to join Ichika in on a baking session. They end up baking cupcakes, and in spite of him claiming to have lost his baking skills a long time ago, he teaches Ichika how to properly whip up some cream. Hey, he's better than me. I just rely on my KitchenAid for everything. And of course, since everything has to have an animal theme, Ichika ends up making the cupcakes look like my favorite member of Plasmagica. She gives a couple to Julio and her classmate who came with him. Yeah, and as you can guess, she becomes the victim of the week, which up until now really hasn't meant that much, has it? Just people who were inconvenienced because the thieves made their favorite desserts inedible. Boo-hoo. It's part of why they never came off as serious threats until the very end. Julio, however, ends up adapting a slightly different approach. He actually lets his victims enjoy their treats, and then extracts the concentrated Kirakira by essentially Shang-Tsunging them. Now that's how you do a threatening villain. True, we didn't learn what exactly happens to people who have Kirakira removed from their bodies, but usually when you forcibly rip anything out of a person, it ends up removing some extra stuff. Anyway, with the freshly extracted Kirakira, Julio powers up his sword and ends up having a pretty awesome fight with the Precure. Along with some leftover production value from last week, this was one of the more physical fights so far this season. Granted, there are still no real fisticuffs, but a lot more weapon usage with some good swordplay, using weapons that aren't necessarily swords. Which I can't complain about considering the stuff I collect. Anyway, Julio proves to be a damn good opponent, and it's only through the mixing technique she learned from him earlier that Ichika is able to create a new attack to counter his. With that, they do something a little different and purify Julio's weapon. You know, I really could have used these girls in a few of my Tales games. Julio retreats, but not necessarily defeated, as having seen Cure Whip use the mixing technique he taught to Ichika, he's able to put two and two together. Well, so much for all that secret ID stuff I talked about. As I guessed last week, this series has hit a major turning point, and at least by the looks of it, it is going in all of the right directions. There is no doubt that Julio is a much better villain than the thieves ever were. His natural charisma alone has earned him the respect of everyone at Ichika's school, appropriate considering he's voiced by Crystal's Haruka and is now fighting against an ex-B of that character. And because of it, he's gained the trust of the Precure, though Yukari might be catching on to him, which is balanced out by the fact that he now knows Ichika's secret. He's also really damn intimidating. Seriously, that is not a face I'd like to see every Sunday morning. In fact, I'm pretty sure he Shang-Tsung some other kid earlier in the episode, so whatever happened to him. Oh boy. They also seem to be playing the early seeds to a possible turn for him involving his past with sweets and why he came to hate them. Whatever direction they take this series, I look forward to where this dark Uranus is going to take us. You'll be happy to know that production of the second half of my top Disgaea characters list is going well. And after I'm done with that, I think it's high time we took a look back at arguably this franchise's highest point. We'll see how that goes, and until then, farewell for now, my friends, and please make a contract with me, and after one visit to the netherworld, you always end up on some devil's spam list. Gotta go get myself a new number now.